It's wrap up time! Hello, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. It's lovely to see you. Please feel free to subscribe to see all the bookish content that you might like to see. It is finally time to do my January wrap up. I have a lovely stack here for you. However, imagine 5 more books on here because I read 5 on my Kindle this month. So as you can see, lots of books read. So let's get into the video. Starting off with the stats, please excuse my voice as well. I've got a cold and I just can't seem to ever shift a cold. So I am using Books with Cassidy, I think. I'll link her channel down below, template or tracker this year. And it's really handy because it puts all my books in the same place, all my ratings, and it does my stats for me, which is the one thing Goodreads does not do. So this month I've read 13 books, that totals to 4,785 pages, with an average page count of 154.35 pages a day. My average page count per book is 368 pages, which is about right, and my most read genre is romance, and I have hauled 5 books this month. Going well for my book buying, not ban, but limitations. And I have started 4 series, continued 6, completed 1, and I've caught up with 2. So interesting month this month. I have also, from my January TBR, which is here, I have read all the books on my January TBR, which is amazing news because friend request was looking hit and miss, but I have read it. And so yeah, let's get into the individual book. I didn't start this tracker the way that you're meant to and put them all in order, so I'm going to go off the way that I see the tracker. However, from next month they'll obviously be in order. So book number 1 on my little tracker is After Ever Happy by Anna Todd. This book is I would say the final book in the series. It's not on my series tracker. Is it going to be included as a final book? Because you've got the prequel before. So for my series tracker purposes, it's not. But for the final series of kind of Hardin and Tessa in chronological order, this is the final book, and it follows kind of their relationship and naturally the breakdown of the relationship and then the remaking of the relationship, and it's just Wattpad fun and toxic vibes, and I absolutely loved it. And I love Hardin, and I think he is such a flawed character, and yet in this book you see his kind of character arc and you see him develop, and you see Tessa finally get a bit of a backbone about her, which is amazing. And in the end I gave this book 4 stars. I thought it was a good read. I actually did read this book. The others I've listened to on audiobook, but this one wasn't as chunky and it was on Kindle Unlimited. So I read this book that way. So yeah, ended up giving this one 4 stars. It was a good start to the year. It did take me a little while to get into my reading this year, but 13 books this month is the most amount of books I've ever done. So I clearly am back into the full swing of things. Okay, book number 2 on my little tracker is Jojo Moyes' Me Before You. I gave this one 3 stars. I spoke about this one quite a lot in my finishing series video that's already out this month, and I feel like 3 stars is very poor rating for this book. And if you're going off the book itself and the writing style and the plot and the premise, it would be a high rating. However, I rate by vibes and how it makes me feel, and I knew the ending, and so going through the book, I think the book relies on a lot of will he, won't he, kind of will they, won't they vibe. Whereas when you know the ending, obviously you know the answer to that question. And therefore I felt that took a bit of the tension away. And so that kind of brought the book down in terms of vibes for me. But it is a really, really good book. Please check the trigger warnings in this book, as there is a lot of talk around death and struggling with mental health, and that could be quite hard to read if you're in that headspace, so please check the trigger warnings. But I do really enjoy this book and I would recommend. It's one of those books which I feel like once you've read it once, you know the outcome, so therefore like reading it again, it's never the same, ever the same. But I am looking forward to continuing on this series. I cannot remember the other 2 books, so that will be interesting to get into, and I'm sure I'll get to them soon. They're not planned so for a minute, but I'm sure I'll get to them soon. Okay, these books are, I've read a lot of series this month, and book number 3 from my series video, book number 2 from my series video, or maybe it was 3, but book number 3 on my tracker is Revenge Wears Prada by Lauren Weisberger. This book, I ended up giving 4 stars. Was it needed in terms of the franchise? No, absolutely not. The Devil Wears Prada ended on a very good note, and I feel like it could have left there. Was it nice to see some old characters come back and be redeemed and see redemption and see friendships that you never thought you would see? Yes. And for that, I enjoyed it. I looked on Goodreads though, and no one else likes this book. So do with that what you will. I feel this is a very nice story. I feel it's nice to see Andy years later. It's nice to see her and Emily outside of Runway, and it's just, I would say it's a very nice book. If you like the characters from book 1, you will enjoy this, I feel, because that's what I found. I found this book was very much just for the ones that really like the characters. Is it necessary for the series to continue? No. Spoiler, have I read book 3? Yes. That's another story. But yeah, 4 stars for the vibes. It's such a cozy, easy read that how can I give it any more or less? Okay, book number 4 on my tracker is Rachel's Pudding Pantry. Again, spoke about this in my finishing series video. 4 stars. This book, looking at the cover, I just thought, it might not be my thing. Am I going to enjoy it? I don't know what the vibe is. And I ate it up. I absolutely loved this book, and I'm devastated that book number 2 in the series is a Christmas book, because I want to read it now. I want to read it right now, and I just can't. And this story is kind of everything you want in like a cozy vibe of, it's got romance, it's got family dynamics, it's got he fell first, it's got acts of service, it's got like talk about puddings and saving land and just chef's kiss. This book is incredible. I can't even put this book into words. It is just so heartwarming, and to see the development of the family and the child and Rachel kind of become her own person and take on these ventures and just thrive is just so nice. So yeah, 100% would recommend. 4 stars, great book. And I need to get to the Christmas book, so I've got a few Christmas books now. That I've got this second book in this series is a Christmas book. I've got I Heart Christmas, and then I got given 2 Christmas books for Christmas this year. So I think probably come November, December time, there will be a reading Christmas books vlog, because I read no Christmas books last year and it's never really been my thing, but I feel like this year is going to be my thing. Okay, book number 5 of the month. I listened to this on audiobook because of the podcast elements, however did kind of tandem read this book as well, and I got None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I think it was Florence Harvey that I listened to or watched her video, and she said it definitely pick up the audiobook version because of the podcast elements. It in the book, I'll see, I think the first page, it's got like elements of like news articles, well that's a news article, and then it's got recordings from so they're the first 2 pages, so there's no spoilers there, but it's got recordings from this podcast. And so in the audiobook you hear it as if it was a podcast. It kind of plays a little bit of a jingle music, and then you hear the voice actors voice it as a podcast, so it's different to the person reading the book. And just all the way through, it all just seemed too good to be true, because I've heard, obviously, None of This Is True. You think, what's the twist, what's the plot line, what's going on, kind of. And even towards the end, I still cannot tell you truly what happened. I can't tell you what actually was true and what wasn't, because you'll never know. Incredible. If you can't tell, 5 stars. I absolutely love this book. First 5 stars of 2025, and I think it's very much needed, and it was a very needed read for me, and it just felt so right, and just, I loved it. I read The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell, and it was good, it just wasn't amazing, and it wasn't my type of thriller. So to then listen to this, and I think I listened to this mostly in like 1-ish sitting, because I needed to know what happened, and yeah, loved it, would recommend, obviously, 5 stars. The next book I read was Theodore Boone by John Grisham. Now, if you've seen my start the year book tag, you'll know my thoughts on this. I gave this book 2 stars. Is this book really, really bad? No. Is it my demographic? No. It's a YA novel and it's about a child within law cases, and there's a big case here within town. Did I like it? No. I trudged through this book, and this is the second John Grisham book now that I've read, and I trudged through. So on this note, I've also decided to unhaul my other 2 John Grisham books. I've kept them purely for filming purposes of this video. However, these 3 books will swiftly be going to a charity shop probably some point this weekend, because I feel like these books are well loved by so many, and so for someone to go to a charity shop and find them, amazing. You guys have them, like, perfect. Please, 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 like, enjoy them. It's just not for me. His writing's not for me. I think a lot of his stories just aren't meant for me and my demographic and my reading taste, and that's fine. We all can like different things, but John Grisham, unfortunately, is an author that I'm going to just say goodbye to. I'm not going to read any more of his books, and I'm going to donate the ones that I do have. Next book is actually an ARC copy. So whenever I get ARCs, I just get so excited, because I love reading art books. And then when you get art books and the author is the loveliest person ever, and it just genuinely, like, will listen to feedback, and there was something within the art that I was like, oh, actually that's wrong, and I just messaged her about it, and she was so kind and just so open to advice and opinions, and she sends me little bits about like the next book as well, and just what my thoughts are. And honestly, I could, not only did I absolutely love this book, it was a 5 stars, but I also love the author, and it is Terms and Conditions by Jensen Parker. This is book number 3 in the Strangers series, and it starts with Until Now and Strictly Business. I think it's Strangers, one sec. Yeah, this is book 3 in the Strangers series, and Until Now and Strictly Business, both absolutely incredible reads, and I would definitely recommend to pick them up. They're on Kindle Unlimited, so if you've got Kindle, go pick them up. Terms and Conditions is coming out on the 14th of February, so perfect for Valentine's Day. And I tell you what, this book, I just, from start to finish, I loved it. Now, technically, they're interconnected standalones, so you can read them in any order. However, I have seen a few of the Goodreads reviews, and someone who has not read the first 2 and read this one said it's really difficult to kind of understand the characters, and this book centres around 2 characters which are quite key parts of books 1 and 2, and then because of that, the couples in books 1 and 2 play a big part in book 3. And so I feel like for your best reading experience, read them in order. I would say it's a bit like a Chestnut Springs type of series, where if you can read them in order, any order, however, you get the best experience and you understand the law and the world more if you read them from kind of book in chronological order. To say that these books are nothing like Chestnut Springs. They are just incredible on their own. So this book follows Josh and Elizabeth. They had an arranged marriage, and now they are coming near to the end of that arrangement, and they're trying to figure out whether they want to not be married anymore or still be married. And there's been lots of problems and issues coming into play, and just, if you don't like miscommunication, this might not be for you. I'm gonna put it out there, because these 2 characters are grown ass people, and they cannot communicate a single thing. However, did I eat it up? Yeah, I loved it. And I liked the element of it's not, oh, will they get together? What's going to happen? You know that they're already married, so it's a very different concept. You're coming from a very different ground level. You're coming from history and then seeing if there's a future. So I really enjoyed that premise and that plot line and the story, and just, I love Josh and I love Elizabeth, and I just hated how immature they were in these books, because I wanted to like get their heads, bash them together and go, you guys love each other, just sort it out. And yeah, and then book number 4, spoiler, is An Unknown Point of View. You'll have to read Terms and Conditions to understand what I'm meaning, but I just need to know right now, I need book 4 in my hands. I need Jensen to just give it to me. So if she can, that would be wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay, the next book in actually, the next few books I have been reading for my finishing series vlog that's coming out next month. So I'm going to just quick fire run through them, give you the star rating, but give you no views whatsoever, and then you can watch that video to get a bit more of an understanding. So I read You by Caroline Keats, and that was, I read You by Caroline Keats, and that was 3 stars. I read The Summer You Found Me by Elizabeth O'Rourke, and that was 4 stars. I read When Life Gives You Lululemons by Lauren Weisberg, and that was 3 stars. And I read Reckless by Elsie Silver, and that was 4 stars. So if you want to get more full in-depth thoughts and feelings on that book or those books, then my finishing series vlog will be out at some point next month. I think it's coming within the next week or 2. It's nearly finished. In fact, actually it might be next week. So it's nearly finished in terms of editing. I just need to film a couple last clips and then I will get that out to you. But those books are heavily obviously in that video, so go over there to see my thoughts and feelings. So then I read Friend Request by Laura Marshall, which is one of those, I've got it here actually, which is one of those books which I've had on my TBR for so long, and I got it from a charity shop, and I don't even know what made me pick it up. I've never heard of it before, I've never seen it before, I've never heard of Laura Marshall before, and I think the premise just sounded really good. So the blurb says, Maria Weston wants to be friends with me. Maybe that had been the problem all along. Maria Weston had wanted to be friends with me, but I let her down. She's been hovering at the edge of my consciousness for all of my adult life. Although I've been good at keeping her out, just a blurred shadow in the corner of my eye, almost but not quite out of sight, Maria Weston wants to be friends. But Maria Weston has been dead for more than 25. This book, I ended up giving 4 stars. It wasn't quite a 5-star. So the start of the book just was so slow. I couldn't get into it. I really struggled with it. And then I was like, I just want to get this one finished. And I wanted to finish it within like the weekend. And then I really struggled with that. And then it hit the 50 to 60% mark and I just had to keep going. And I mean, I literally stayed up so late just to finish this book, and it thrilled me and it got me on the edge of my seat, and I needed to know what happened, but it just took so long to get to that point. And there were some scenes which I was reading which, when you find out the twists at the end, makes sense, and the reason why you do that is because it makes you not question those characters. So I understand why Laura did it now, but when I was reading it I was like, this just really isn't necessary. I was like, I know this dynamic, I know this friendship, I know this situation, I don't need to read this. Clearly I did, but at the time it was really hard to kind of power through those scenes, especially when it was nearer the end. And so I just wanted to finish this book because I just needed to know what happened. And so I was sat there going, do I really need to read these scenes? Obviously yes, but incredible. You just need to get through that first 50%, and you just need to start like getting into the story a bit more. And I feel like if you just sit down and just commit yourself to reading at least 50%, you'll get into it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend, and I might see what else Laura Marshall's written because this was incredible. And the last book I have read this month, which I read actually last night and this morning just to kind of give me something to read. I didn't really want to start anything that I couldn't finish before this wrap up, and I didn't want to finish something or have something finished after I filmed the wrap up and then have to insert a clip, and I finished too late and I wanted something to read before bed. So I just picked up a real cute little novella, and it was Nick and Charlie by Alice Osman. This book I gave 4 stars. I thought the story was so cute, but a lot of it links into the Heartstopper graphic novels, so a lot of the background and the premise of this I knew. So I think if you've not read the graphic novels, that is needed in terms of if you want to pick up the book with text rather than pictures, then yeah, you need that background knowledge. However, knowing the characters so well and loving them as much as I do, I knew that. So I did really enjoy this book, and I thought it was such a cute, cozy read. I gave it 4 stars. I feel like the graphic novels really gave me that 5-star feels, and this just wasn't quite there. But it's only a little novella. It's kind of plugging some of the gaps in after the last Heartstopper book, I believe, from what I remember of that one. And I just thought it's just so cute and cozy, and definitely a read I might just go back to because it's only 157 pages, so it was really quick, really easy. If it wasn't so late when I started this last night, I would have read this in one sitting. It's just such cute, cozy vibes, and I just love Nick and Charlie with all my heart. So that is the 13 books that I have read this month in January. Obviously I've read quite a few on my Kindle as well. So that's the 13 books I read in this video. Or not in this video, in this month. If you, like I say, if you want to see more in-depth thoughts on You, The Summer You Found Me, and Reckless by Elsie Silver, then go ahead and watch my finishing series vlog when that's out this month. Other than that, I think I've got a few different videos this month I am very busy in February. I've got 2 essays that I need to write. It's my birthday month, so that's very exciting. So I do plan on working on like a little extra special reading video vlog for you guys. However, if that doesn't come out, then I don't want to make any promises. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and just tell me what your favourite read from January was, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye guys.